Welcome to OnPodcast, the On Microsoft podcast, where we talk about Microsoft stuff on a podcast. I am your host today, Kareem Anderson, and I'm joined by the world's greatest co-host.
Arif Bacchus.
And we got a special guest. And we've been teasing him all week. You guys know him on YouTube as Crazy Ken.
That's
You
me.
want to give people a little intro about yourself and kind of roll into this podcast?
Yeah, my name is Ken, or as people like to call me, Crazy Ken. And I run the Computer Clan. It is one of the longest running tech YouTube channels in history. It is actually coming up on its 15th anniversary in September. So I'm super excited about that. And the three big legs to the stool, if you will, are rare and retro tech, new tech, and probably the fan favorite, scam tech. So I do episodes on those three major topics and try to blend them very harmoniously. And I also do a bit of a mix of like really nice quality produced videos and also like really nice quality off the cuff videos. So I do like some scripted and some unscripted stuff and mix them together, and it's a lot of fun. So yeah, that's a quick overview of Computer Clan.
So now
Yeah,
that you told us about Computer Clan, how did you actually get into Computer Clan and being a YouTuber? It's something that we always ask YouTubers when we have them on the podcast. So how
Yeah.
did you get this grand idea of becoming a YouTuber?
When I was a young lad, I I would borrow my father's video camera and I would just make these dumb movies with my friends. Now, this was all analog cassettes, didn't have any editing systems or anything, so we shot everything linearly. We couldn't cut or do really anything, so we just kind of put on little skits and shot them all in one take. But then my family bought an iMac. It was a 2006, those white all-in-one computers with the iMovie on them. So
mhm.
when I opened up iMovie, I was like, "Whoa, this is cool!" And like the iSight camera turned on, and it filmed me, and it put me in the computer. Not like Tron or anything, but like it took my video and put it in the iMovie timeline. And I kind of self-taught myself how to edit video. And then I got with the help of my parents, I'm young, I don't have a lot of, budget, a little Sony Handycam, with like 20x optical zoom and Firewire, so I can go out and film things and then import them into the computer. And Firewire let you do that. It was so easy. You didn't need capture cards or anything. So a young, inexperienced person like me could use a Mac and easily make movies. So then I started making movies with actual editing and titles and everything. And then I thought, wait a minute, no one's watching these. I gotta put them somewhere where people watch them. And this was 2007. YouTube was a baby. It
Yep.
was very, very young. Things were very different. I might shock some people with this. Back in my day, the YouTube descriptions were on the side. You didn't
Yeah,
say down
Exactly. Yeah.
below, you went to the side. There were no likes. It was stars. There was a 10-minute upload limit. It was great. So then I started uploading videos to YouTube because I was like, well, I want to get people watching these things and I want to see what people think. And it was just like random skits that I did with my friends and stuff. But then as I started getting more into computers and watching other YouTube videos of people doing things with computers, I was like, okay, I want to do my own things with computers. And then I started making very crappy low budget videos of that stuff, but they started getting hundreds of views and then a couple thousand here and there. And it just kept going as a hobby. And now it's a business.
that's pretty awesome.
Yeah.
Uh, I think I want to kind of piggyback on that specifically because I know a lot of YouTubers keep track of their viewership and their audience, per day, per video, things like that. And I'm just doing like a cursory review. Like I've seen a handful of the videos or whatnot, and I just see that some of them, obviously, you're raking in hundreds of thousands of views. You have some stuff that which are usually on your fake or scam portion of the site that have about 300 to 600,000 views. Is there a particular video that has helped shape the direction of your channel based on, the popularity of it? I know some people start off in one direction. They,
Mhm.
hit a stride going another direction with, because, they find out their audience loves this. Was there that moment for you?
Yeah, the scam busting stuff was a huge boost to the channel because when I made that first episode, just on a whim, it's still the most viewed episode of the Scam Buster series, and it is the third most viewed video on the whole freaking channel. So I started leveraging that, but like I didn't want to just do some like stupid, dramatic, like clickbaity, like, hey, these guys are a scam. I try to still use good production value to make it like a quality episode, but also teach people how technology works. If I'm showing a scam and showing people, hey, this is fake, I still like to show people with like nice illustrations and animations and everything how the tech actually works so you can learn and identify what the fake stuff is. So I'd say the scam busting stuff was a big thing. Another big thing that happened probably a little earlier, maybe around the same time, was I started networking more in the Apple internal and Apple prototype community. So I was getting my hands on some like really rare hardware and software that the public normally doesn't see. And I've started doing episodes about rare and retro things more, especially prototypes and things like the Next Cube. You know, who has a Next Cube line on their desk? Like that's a pretty
Nobody.
that's a pretty special computer that most people didn't see. If you Google Next Cube, you see my face in like the Google info panel. Like that's how many views that video has. So I would say a combination of like the rare and prototype stuff and the scam busting tech stuff are the things that really started taking the channel in a new direction and making it go much further. Another thing was just behind the scenes, leaving my day job let me focus on the channel a lot more so it could actually grow how it's supposed to.
There you go.
So you have like a layer of like all your tech items that you have on the channel. We see
Oh,
it behind you in the background in a lot
yeah.
of your videos. So what is your favorite tech item right now out of everything that you own?
Ooh, I would say it's kind of a tie with a few things because I have a 20th anniversary Macintosh, which is a very special Mac. For those who don't know, Apple made only one version of them, and it has so many unique features that Apple never did again. But I would also say probably my most favorite is, and you can see it in the background of my latest episodes, is there is an iMac G3 prototype back there. So it's a pre-release, not a pre-release. It's a internal prototype version of the first iMac Apple ever made. There's a lot of very unique prototype features about it, and it's the only one I've ever seen in existence anywhere. I've visited other people's prototype collections, and they have cool stuff, but I've never seen anybody else have what this particular iMac is. And I even got a very generous offer from a guy in Germany to buy it off me recently, which
Wow.
I politely turned him down because I want to keep it, maybe get it working someday. But if I ever truly want to sell it, he'll get dibs. But yeah, I would say that iMac G3 prototype is my favorite because it looks cool and it's crazy rare.
I mean, on that same note, we'll ask you what your least favorite one is.
my least favorite
Yeah.
I mean, I would say pretty much all the scam tech that I have purchased is my least favorite because I still have all of it. I put it all in a box and I still have every crappy piece of junk I've purchased. Even like, I haven't done an episode about this yet, but I have
What
this
is that?
it's an iPhone.
It's a
Like,
fake iPhone.
yeah, it's
Well,
back when the
yeah.
rumors thought there were going to be 4 cameras, 3 of these cameras don't even work. It's just a, I have some like knockoff stuff I love to mess with. Specifically, I don't know if I have a specific piece of tech I hate the most, but yeah, the scam stuff is pretty trash. Those are
Okay, I
fun.
got a question that kind of
Yeah.
talks about tech and kind of builds on this. I'd say, just looking, going through your site or whatnot, and some of the videos that you have, I'd say your site's roughly 2/3 Apple based when it's not scam stuff. You do a lot of window software reviews and things like that. Um, but you do it through virtualization. I've noticed. Like, I don't know if you own a PC, particularly, at least not that you use in videos or Surface device or anything like that. And we're a Windows and Microsoft based site, so I wanted to at least get your view on Microsoft's virtualization because I know you use it a lot to kind of do your reviews of the software. What do you think about that? And what would you change if you could?
I did use VMware Fusion to do
Okay,
Windows 11 because at the time, yeah, I don't know if I have any computer that supports the TPM requirements, or at least any
right.
spare computer that supports the TPM requirements. I actually just recently installed Windows 10 on my 2013 MacBook Pro, straight
Hmm.
up, no virtualization because I need it to run some programs. But no, I mean it runs fine in a virtual machine. If I was going to use Windows more, I would have a dedicated PC, but I just don't use it as much anymore. But
Gotcha.
but for like specific things, like when I did my Half-Life 2 charity stream a while ago, I put Windows on my iMac because like OBS just
Yeah.
it's just written to work
Yeah.
better on Windows and games and stuff. Especially now that like Apple ditched 32-bit support. Pretty much like no Steam games of mine work on Mac OS. But
Yeah, we're just trying to figure out, like, for someone who uses Apple tech for the most part, what are your thoughts on like Microsoft tech and Windows? Because like I said, I know you did a review of the Surface Duo. I just don't know if you've reviewed any other PC related or Microsoft specific things on the site other than the software, which is Windows.
Yeah, if we're talking hardware wise, I haven't touched anything probably since the Surface Duo. I tend to lean a little more toward like retro stuff, and I would say, like in the old days, correct me if I'm wrong, Microsoft didn't make a lot of hardware. They made a lot of software.
All
So
right.
like
Yep.
so like I did a whole retrospective on Windows 95, which was really
Yeah,
fun to do. I
that
might
was
do
that was
something.
awesome.
Yeah, I might do something on Internet Explorer because its official retirement date was very recently. The day we're recording this, it was yesterday. I actually did just get a donation of a Surface RT, the first Surface RT. So
Oh,
Wow.
nice.
I might tinker with that just to kind of show people like, hey, what was the Surface like 10 years ago? Because it was a little primitive, but like it was their first one, and like
Yeah.
it was also like the first like ARM based experience for consumers. And I have a feeling we're going to see a lot more ARM stuff soon from Microsoft. And this was kind of like how it was 10 years ago. So yeah, that'll be a future episode. Definitely.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that.
So your name is, people nickname you Crazy Ken. So what is the craziest piece of tech you ever owned?
I will say I assumed the nickname of Crazy Ken actually. And then it just kind of evolved from there. The craziest
Really?
piece. Yeah. Oh, totally. That was all me.
You got to own it.
Yeah. Craziest piece of tech I own. So crazy is a nebulous word. So give me something a little more specific to go off of there. Like crazy in what way?
Like wild and out of this world, like you couldn't believe it when you saw it.
I guess in retrospect, it would have been like a tablet on a refrigerator, like the
Yeah, or something
Samsung
like, yeah.
fridge or something like
Yeah.
that.
Does it have to be a piece of tech I own?
Yeah.
Wow. Well, I'm very old school. My fridge is from like 1998. Let me think here.
Uh,
Missing cameras.
Yep, I got one now. Crazy, I would say a lot of the scam buster stuff I look at is really crazy. The claims are ridiculous. Sometimes the products work okay, but the advertising is just totally BS. But sometimes the product just straight up doesn't work at all. And I would say one of the most ridiculous ones I ever reviewed on the scam buster stuff was the UV Len. This was a product that claimed it could attach to your phone's flashlight
oh yeah, yeah.
and convert the flashlight into a UV ray that's safe for human tissue to disinfect your hands. And this was like at the beginning of COVID, right?
Right.
So
Yeah.
everyone's
Yeah.
like all health conscious. So they're trying to sell this. And I'm just like, how? How is it possible? Like, there is no way you could just convert that to that. Like, and even if you could, it would be incredibly unsafe. So I was like, I have to do an episode about this. And it actually ended up being a two-parter because I couldn't get my hands on the product initially. So I just had to use science to explain why it's fake. But one of my viewers from South Korea got his hands on one and mailed it to me. So that's when I
That's
did a
awesome.
follow-up. Yeah, I did a follow-up and actually used UVC reactive cards and other items to show, hey, this doesn't work. And if it did, again, it would be kind of unsafe because I used a real UVC tube to prove what a real UVC light does. And
Mhm.
if you have your hand near that thing for too long, like even just a few minutes, it starts to kind of feel like you have a little bit of sunburn going on. So yeah, it doesn't sound safe. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's a
no,
pretty crazy one.
but if you take a regular light and just put a blue filter on it, you
Yeah.
can sell it. Millions.
I can't believe they tried to sell that. Like, and they said they had an app to make it blink so it's safe. But like the app didn't even exist. Like you go to download it and it just brings you to a random strobe light app in the app store. It's insane the kind of stuff people try to get away with. And I document all of it on my Crazy Ken's Tech Talk show for people to enjoy and learn from. It's so much fun.
So we're
So
going to
so
recommend that episode.
so how do you find this crazy tech? Do you just go to like wish.com and you type in iPhone 12 or type in disinfectant and you would just buy whatever you see?
So in the old days, anytime I got a YouTube ad for some, I will admit I use YouTube Premium now, so I don't get ads. But back in the days when I didn't use YouTube Premium and I got an annoying ad for something, I would just look into the product some more. That's how the whole thing started. I got an ad for that Lit Mobile solar panel charger for your
Yep.
phone. And I was
Mhm.
like, oh, this doesn't seem right, but whatever. But when I got it 6 more times, I was like, okay, somebody's got to talk about this, right? So that's how that all started. But since I don't get those ads much anymore, most of the time I find these products just because people submit them to me. So
Interesting.
I would say that's 95% of it. And that doesn't just apply to scam stuff too. It applies to other fun, obscure things like the WoW computer, the computer that was made for senior citizens. That wasn't really a scam product, but it was still something suggested to me to tinker with. And that was fun. I would say that's maybe like 90% of it. The other 10% is I still sometimes get a really weird Facebook ad for something, and then I turn that into an episode. But yeah, 90% is people just sending stuff my way. I get a lot
See,
of these.
I'm surprised. I figured it would. I figured it'd be a huge chunk of people just sending you stuff, but I also figured you just scour like Kickstarters basically to
So
like.
yeah,
Go ahead.
I used to do that more back in the day. It's just the people do it for me now. So
I was gonna say, there you go.
I could save the time.
Crowdsourcing.
Right. It's indirectly outsourcing. So now I can get all that time back to work on the episodes. I'm working on one right now. It actually involves a lot of like diagnostic tests, which take probably like 96 hours to run each.
Oh,
And
geez.
of course, it was Patch Tuesday recently.
Oh
Totally
yeah,
forgot about it.
saw your tweet about that. Yep.
The computer rebooted in the middle of a 96-hour test, so
Oh.
I had to restart it at the halfway point. But anyway, I'm working on a new episode. It should be out this upcoming Thursday, and ooh yeah, this product is it almost really makes me angry of how much of a ripoff it is.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
So you heard it here. You heard it here first. He's
Mhm.
working on a new episode.
Oh yeah.
That's not just a new episode. A new episode that's going to anger him. So
Oh
you
yeah,
know,
it's
so I'll look out for that.
because like I said, it's like a spectrum of like some products work okay, but the advertising is just really, really false.
Right.
This is the advertising is really, really false, and the product is also a ginormous pile of shiitake mushrooms. So it's bad.
I mean, yeah, I appreciate this though. This is the kind of stuff that late at night, my wife is like, "Are you watching YouTube again?" I'm like, "Yeah, but I'm learning stuff." So
Yeah.
Yep.
you're my excuse.
There you go. See, I push the entertainment first. I think that's the main focus, but always gotta make it a learning experience too.
Yeah.
So what
definitely
is so
for
what
sure.
is the most expensive like scam tech item that you purchased?
I would say it's probably the one I'm doing right now. They're usually not very expensive because they want people to buy them. So they purposely use cheap parts and keep them cheap. The one I'm doing right now was like $100. And yeah, I don't mind giving a little sneak peek. It claims to be an 8 terabyte portable SSD. So anybody who's in the tech space knows $99 ain't gonna buy you an 8 terabyte
Yeah.
SSD. So I'm like, what's the trick here? And yeah, you'll see in the episode why it's so cheap. But I would say like $100, yeah, on that was probably the most I ever spent.
What about that leather mouse that you recently reviewed?
So I would not consider that a scam personally because it was actually a pretty good product. It just
Yeah.
wasn't really my thing. But yes, that was like a $250 mouse. It actually used very quality products like parts. The optical sensor by itself was like a $60 part. So and it works on glass. Like not even the Magic Mouse works on glass, but that mouse did. So it's actually quite impressive. I just didn't really like the ergonomics. Now, I purchased that mouse knowing the $250 price point would be something that gets people curious about the episode. So that's why I was okay with splurging on it. And I knew the episode would pay for itself. And I know when I buy stuff like that, I can also just sell them later. And I did. Someone bought it. So no biggie.
I guess it's a win-win.
Yeah, totally.
So that brings us to another question. What is one video that you're really proud of, that you put a lot of work in, and that you're especially proud of having up on the Computer Clan channel?
Yeah, I'll do like a newer one and an older one. So I would say my recent scam buster about that energy saver device that claims when you plug it into your wall, it saves 50 to 90% off your energy bill. I was really proud of that one because there was a lot of animation that went into it that explains like how electrons flow in a circuit and how like single phase motors and stuff work or generators. Like that was a lot of work. And I turned that around in like after I had everything filmed, I think I turned all that editing and animating around in like 3.5 days. And I was actually very
Whoa.
surprised with
Whoa.
myself. So that episode I was really excited or really happy about. In terms of like an older example, I would say probably my back when I did like simpler like screen recording kind of stuff, I would say it was like my first Windows 10 like tech preview demo, because like when Windows 10 was first announced, they gave out that tech preview and I jumped on that. I was like, hey, here's what Windows 10 is going to be like, and it's still the most viewed video on my channel. But I was really proud of that one back in the day, because that's when my channel was really really small. So, and I think that was the first video I ever made that broke 1 million views, so that was a good one too.
That's impressive.
So one more question here. This is kind of as you've been going along, I've been thinking to myself, do you do like all of your editing and everything on your own, or do you like have someone who assists you? Like, MKBHD, he started off like very small, but now he's all full on production. He has production crews and people who help him with scripting and stuff. So are you
Mhm.
all in house and all by yourself? You're still a large channel with recently, I think you hit cross 300,000. So how do you go about making your videos and putting all this stuff together?
Yeah, I just recently passed 360,000, and it's all by myself.
Wow.
It's just all me. Now I will give credit to where it's due. I do have awesome people that come over and collaborate, and like
Hmm.
maybe bring some stuff over to tinker with, or like maybe we'll do like a 2-person episode where I have a guest on the show with me. So I've absolutely have had help, and I've had people volunteer to help me research subjects. Like when I do the scam busting stuff, a lot of times it's about topics that I'm not super familiar with.
All right.
Like when I did the fake air conditioner stuff, I had to learn about refrigeration really really
Yep.
fast. So people on Twitter helped me with that stuff, and then it's kind of a team effort there. But in terms of the filming and the editing, 99.9% of the time it is all just me. Hmm.
Well, and I say congratulations because you put out a quality product that
Thank you.
I would have guessed requires a whole production team.
And that's what I'm aiming for. So I do appreciate that. I try, I try not to make it a competition, but I will humbly say the Computer Clan's production value,
Yep.
specifically for the Tech Talk episodes, is higher than most of what you would see on YouTube, especially for a one-man band.
Yeah,
Exactly. Yeah.
yeah. I
Yep.
don't think there's any question there by any of us here.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
So what do
Is
you
there
feel?
any?
Go
Okay,
ahead, Kareem. Yeah, go ahead,
as I say,
Kareem.
is there anything you're looking forward to in the world of just tech in general? I mean, and this could be as nebulous as you want it to be as an answer. Just are you looking for leaps and bounds in certain, maybe home appliance technology or AI or software or anything like that? What is something you are personally looking forward that you may or may not even film? Just something as someone who enjoys tech is looking forward to.
One thing that I've been really excited about lately is people realizing that ARM-based chips can actually be used in computers. Because like
There you go. Yeah.
There you go.
when rumors were initially going around about like Apple doing that, people were like, "No, that's a phone chip." But now we're seeing how serious that is. I recently got an Apple Silicon laptop and I'm blown away by it. I've
Yep.
never heard the fan turn on. The thing runs so cool. And there's rumblings. This is totally happening. Microsoft is going to be doing their own ARM-based chips in the future, and I want to see that. I want to see more than just Apple doing their own ARM-based chips in their laptops and stuff. I want to see what companies like Microsoft and stuff do, because it's incredible. Because
Yeah.
the low power means less heat, no fans, longer battery life. It's going to be really cool to see.
We were actually talking about that off mic,
Yep.
Aaron, for myself, because we
Oh,
were talking. Yeah, we were discussing like the ThinkPads that are coming out and Windows. Like, I was just saying as far as design, because I like hardware. They have the Surface laptop. I'm like, why aren't they just tossing in that traditional clamshell form factor an ARM chip into that thing and help push that out? Because they have the Surface Pro X and it's ARM based as well. But like, that form factor is, it could be polarizing for some. But you get yourself a Surface laptop, 5 or 6 or whatever, and you say, hey, that thing runs 18-hour battery. Yes, it's Windows and ARM, but you can get 18 hours worth of battery,
mm,
no fan, stuff like that. That's a selling point for some people.
yeah.
So I am with you on that. We're excited about the future of ARM.
Oh yeah. Love an ARM.
I'll let
So
you
I
wrap up the last question. Yeah, go ahead, Eric.
so what are your thoughts? I know you touched on it a bit just now when you talked about ARM and Apple and what they're doing with the M1. So what are your thoughts on what Microsoft is doing specifically right now with Windows 11 and with Surface?
I actually I really liked Windows 11 when like that leaked build first came out. I hopped on that and released an episode immediately. I know everyone's going to have their complaints,
Yep.
but the things they've been doing like user interface wise, and like I'm a very visual guy, so I'm very picky about this stuff. How they're making things a little more consistent and unifying a design language. And me coming from a Mac background, I love that the icons by default are now centered in the taskbar. And no, people probably hate me for that, but I like the direction it's going, and I'll be honest. I'm not super crazy up to date on Windows stuff as much as I used to be, because I
Right.
used to, even when I first switched back to the Mac like in 2007 or so. I still used Windows a lot because I had Windows as a daily driver for years. So I still used it to do certain things and get some game development and stuff like that back in the day. I just haven't touched it as much lately, unless I'm using like some sort of like live stream reference system. Those are all like PC
So,
based. So
Yeah, no, I
gotcha.
mean, if you want to add to the Windows 11 discussion, like I said, I remember watching a video where you were putting it on your Mac and whatnot, and kind of going through the design. And I'm agree with you. Like I like, I didn't think I would like the center taskbar. When it first rolled out, I was like, oh, move this back to the left where I'm comfortable and I know where things are at. And I want to say maybe a week later, I was like, let me try out the center, and it really is relative. Like as long as it fits the amount of icons you need there, and everything you can pin there
hmm
stays there, I'm all for it. Now, for those people that are like Spider-Man, who want their like taskbar on the side or the top of their desktop, I can understand their complaints of that, but I don't. I like it at the bottom. So I do enjoy that they kind of plagiarize that from the Mac. It's really nice.
I'm all for any like visual changes in operating systems. That stuff gets me more excited than anything else because again, just a very visual graphic background. So like even when like Windows 8 first came out, I was like I'm not sure if I like this whole start screen thing, but I was like, it's still new. I'm excited
Mhm.
about it because I installed the first developer preview when that came out. And like when Windows 10 was like rumors are going around about how they were going to redesign the start menu and stuff like that. I did videos about that, and those got a ton of views. I remember my first like Windows 10 like concept based video that got like 800 something thousand views, and this was back when the channel was way smaller. So covering Windows related news just it did work for me. I don't really do a lot of like news stuff anymore, unless like I do like installing new operating systems and stuff still, like Windows 11. That's always fun. But yeah, that's always been a thing that helped grow the channel a bit, especially back in the day. Because, like I said, the first version of Windows 10 when that came out, that's still my most viewed video on my channel. I
Yeah,
haven't
no,
beaten it.
there are people who clamor for Windows news, and I think it's both a curse, a blessing and a curse for Windows 11, is that it's becoming an appliance operating system, so to speak, so that like the level of attention that people are paying towards it now is just like, does it work? Will it crash? No, okay, then let's move on. But Windows 10 and Windows 8 people were really excited about those kind of things because you're coming off of a high on Windows 7, some failures from Windows XP, things like that. People wanted to see where they're going. And now that they've kind of settled into, let's do iterative visual updates, people are kind of like, again, does it break? No, okay, I'm okay. Let's just move on. And they're not
I
making such drastic changes.
Yeah, you just got me really nostalgic there for Windows 7 because when that first came out and I was installing those betas and things on my Mac, it runs on Intel, throw Windows on there, why not?
Right.
I was really excited about that because again, the visual changes, but also when I was using Windows more on like a semi-regular basis, I never made the jump to Vista. I still ran XP. So I didn't really get to
Smart.
soak in all of the beautiful arrow design changes, which looked really pretty. So when Windows 7 came out, I was hit with like a double dose of cool new shiny, what do they call it? Eye candy or whatever. But I thought it was
Yeah.
so cool. So like, oh, the start menu glows when you hover over it. This is amazing. So I really liked Windows 7 when it came out, and I used it a lot.
Yeah, no, but like I said, to your point though, I think it's also just the fastest way for people to understand the change in something without further explanation. I know your site goes into tons of explanation, tons of research, which I think your audience and all of us appreciate. But a visual change is something you can quickly point to, like, hey, look, that's there. This glows. That's rounded. This
Yep.
is bigger. This matches. It's just easier to kind of explain and get to the point on.
And that's why I don't remember if this was an official thing for Microsoft or if it was just a rumor, but there was talk about how Windows 10 was going to be quote the last version of Windows, and
yep.
Yeah.
and I was like, how from a marketing perspective is that going to work? because old man Jenkins over here might go, oh, it's still Windows 10. I already have that. But like, that's why I was so happy to hear like the next major one is called Windows 11. I'm like, okay, that's much more clear that it's a new version now. So I was really stoked to hear that. And I was like, yes, things are happening.
I want to say that might have been a battle between the marketing teams where there was
Could have
probably a younger guy who came from like, an Apple company or something like that and was like, hey, we'll name it after something relative and that the operating system remains the same. So like, you have OS 10, but it's named, whatever mountain cat that they found at the time.
Right. Yeah.
That's where Windows wanted to go. And instead of saying like, okay, this is Windows Sun Valley, they were like, we're the Microsoft company. It's Windows 11, whatever.
Yeah, that's one thing I've always liked about the Windows like naming thing. It always seems like they try to do something different because like you have 1, 2, 3, 95, 98, and then they go like 2000 Millennium Edition. Then they got a little fancy XP, which was like the greatest release of all time. And then you got Vista, and then they went back to numbers 7, 8, 10. 11.
Did 8.1. I'm like, really, guys?
Yep. That actually reminds me. I would love to do like an explainer video as to why there was no Windows 9. I think that's something that a lot of people would be curious about because I'm curious about it myself.
I know we speculate on this channel all the time about stuff.
Yep.
And if I had to guess, it would be like, again, it was chasing after the 10 that Apple already had. They had the X, which was cool, but it was always 10. Like everyone who at least knew the software called it 10. People who were kind of new to say X or whatever. And so Microsoft leapt to 10. And it also might have just been superstitious. There was a point in time where Microsoft, every other operating system release was a failure. And if you're coming off of 8, you don't necessarily want to have like 9 be your failure, another failure for yourself. It's like when you go to like Japanese hotels and they don't have a 13th floor.
Yep, that's true. I think it works. It's like, you're right. That's what Apple did. They went to OS 10 and that was the fancy new version. They even did it with QuickTime. They skipped QuickTime 8. They skipped QuickTime 9. They went right to QuickTime 10 when they rewrote it. Same thing with their editing software, which I've been using since day one, Final Cut Pro. They skipped from 7. They skipped 8, 9. They just went right to 10. It's just a cool number.
Yeah, it's a nice round one.
I think they also skipped it because the coding might have got confused with Windows 95 and 9. That's why they skipped straight to 11.
I was speculating that as to why they went from like 8 to 8.1 to 10. I haven't confirmed that, but I have heard those rumors. But yeah, if I ever do an episode about it, I'd love to research it a lot more and see, why is there no Windows 9? Makes you curious. It's like there's something missing here.
I'm sure there's a Windows 9 in a trash can somewhere that we'll hear about years from now.
That
has a ton of great features.
I see, again, like I love prototype hardware and like pre-release software and things like that. I hope like maybe 10 years from now we actually like see some like legit internal copy of Windows 9. With another cheeky wallpaper that says, "Shh, let's not leak our hard work," right?
Exactly. Or it'll just be like Windows Longhorn Part 2.
Oh my gosh, dude, Longhorn, man, I want to do like a Longhorn thing too, because again, going to Vista, huge interface change, like graphically. I am obsessed with like the Longhorn history because there's so many different like UI tweaks through the builds because they were experimenting like crazy trying to make it look like how Vista looked. But yeah, I'm super fascinated with Longhorn's evolution.
Well, that's what I got for you. I mean, I could stay here and chat with you all day, but I don't know if people on the podcast would appreciate that long of a podcast. But that's all I got. I mean, unless Eric has got some other questions for you.
No, that's all I got too. And now that means it's time for Ken to tell the people where they could find him and anything that he wants to promote.
Yes,
absolutely. You can find me. My main stomping ground is YouTube. So you can just go to youtube.com/computerclan or just Google Computer Clan. You'll find it. We're there. So yeah, youtube.com/computerclan. New episodes every Thursday. And I'm also really active on Twitter as well. That's just at the Computer Clan. We couldn't get at Computer Clan. Someone stole that username. So we had to put a the in there. And our website is thecomputerclan.com, but it is currently kind of clunky, but it's being completely redesigned from the ground up. So in a few weeks, that should be up and running as well.
That's awesome.
Yep, and we thank you so much, Ken, for your time, and I hope to have you again on the show soon.
Oh, my pleasure. Whenever some other like big Windows release comes out or something, I think that'd be a perfect thing for me to join you guys on if you'll have me.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean,
Sweet.
even before the Windows release, because you have made, and I don't know if you still have it, you made a Duo device. I mean, when they have the supposed update for Android 12, 11, I don't know if you were going to do a walkthrough on that, but we would love to have you back, kind of talking about if things that have changed that you've noticed or
Yeah.
stuff.
I I currently don't have the Duo anymore, but if there's ever some other like Microsoft hardware I do get my hands on,
Yeah,
you
sure.
know, the newest like Microsoft branded hardware I think is that Surface RT from like 10 years ago right now, but
That's gonna be fun.
maybe sometime in the future that could change. The
Yeah, we'll
Neo,
do it.
I would have loved to do something about the Neo
Oh,
because like
me too.
that canceled projects, prototypes, that stuff is right up my alley. I know someone who has one or at least had one at one time, but heck if I know if it works or anything. But I don't know. Maybe we could talk about some more prototypey stuff like that in the future.
Fingers
See,
crossed.
he's bouncing episodes off of us.
There you go. I'm just spitballing here, man. Yeah.
Well, all right, Ken. Thanks so much again for joining us.
Yeah, my pleasure. It was fun.
Yeah, totally
All right.
appreciate it. And congratulations on crossing the 360 mark or 359 mark.
Oh yeah. 360, you bet.
All right, Ken. Bye bye.
See ya. Have a good one.
You too.